This video will cover documenting vitals in the progress note. Begin by navigating to the patient's progress note and selecting Vitals. The Vitals window will open, and you'll note that you'll see all previous vitals entered for the patient. The row highlighted in yellow is the current encounter and the only one that can be entered into or modified. This would be useful when the patient has more than one encounter for the same date. You will see the vitals fields that have been made available within the system. This, as well as the order in which they appear, can be easily configured. If any vitals appear with an asterisk next to them, that indicates that it is mandatory and will need to be documented before you can move on to other sections. There are two ways in which to document vitals. The faster way is to simply click into a vitals field, enter in the data, and then click the Enter key, which will then shift you on to the next field for entry. Keep in mind, you can always use the Tab key on your keyboard to navigate into the next fields as well. However, doing it this way doesn't allow for entry of multiple readings, like if you wanted multiple blood pressure readings. The second option is using the pop-up. You'll select the pop-up checkoff box in the upper right-hand corner, and then you can click into a vitals field, like blood pressure, for example. In this case, you can select the qualifier if applicable and enter in the value. Once entered, you can either use the arrows to navigate onto the next or previous vitals field, click Apply to enter it in and close out of the pop-up, or if multiple readings need to be entered, click the plus sign and an additional field will appear. Once you've entered in your next reading, make sure to click the plus sign to capture it. In addition to that, if you are entering multiple readings, you can define which one you want as your default. Select it and tap the default button above. Once completed, at that point, we'll click Apply and our vitals have been entered. Certain vitals, like height for instance, can be copied from the previous visit while in the pop-up. Just click the Copy button that displays, and you'll note that it copies the previous value that had been entered. Then, hit Apply or even the arrows as needed to capture the vital into the field. Keep in mind that if your vitals have been configured properly and you've entered in the height and weight, the patient's BMI will automatically calculate. Once vitals have been entered, they will appear in your progress note. Simply close out of the vitals window, and you'll see the information update on the progress note. Here you will see your list of vitals that have been entered. If any vitals that are entered fall outside of the normal range that has been configured, they will appear in red. An invalid range can also be configured so that if a vital is entered in an invalid range, a pop-up will display notifying you that it is out of range and will require you to re-enter the vital. Navigating back into the vitals section, you'll note that any additional details on vitals can be entered in the lower Notes field. You have the ability to free type or click the ellipsis button to display your list of keywords for selection. Once everything has been entered, make sure to check off the Vitals checkoff box in the upper right-hand corner. This will display a stethoscope in the office visit screen, indicating to your clinical staff that this has been completed. Things to keep in mind when entering vitals is that the height and weight should only have numeric values so the system can properly calculate the patient's BMI, and special characters should not be entered into the vitals fields, as it may interfere with certain processes, such as migrate vitals, registry reports, quality measures, EBO reports, etc. That concludes this video. Thank you for watching.